Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the massive, interconnected global machine of tourism. We aren't just looking at pretty travel brochures here. We are going to build a comprehensive mental map of how millions of people, billions of dollars, and incredibly delicate ecosystems interact every single day. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting four crucial areas: the core components, the types of tourism, the key stakeholders, and finally, the digital nervous system.
All right, Section 1, Core Components. We are defining the tourism ecosystem.
Okay, first up, let's actually define tourism. It's not just sipping margaritas on a beach. Strictly speaking, tourism is the act of traveling to a place outside your usual environment for less than 1 year. And the purpose? It could be for leisure, business, or other voluntary reasons. The key word here is that it's temporary and it's voluntary. So, a weekend road trip a few towns over totally counts. Getting stuck somewhere for 2 years? Yeah, that definitely doesn't. So, if tourism is the action, the tourist is the main character. But here's the catch. To officially qualify as a tourist, in industry terms, you've got to stay outside your usual bubble for more than 24 hours. If it's less than that, well, you're technically just an excursionist grabbing a quick lunch.
Now, tourists generally fall into two distinct camps, domestic and international. Domestic tourists are spending money within their own country's borders, while international tourists are actually crossing foreign borders. And this distinction, it's massive. Governments track, market to, and tax these two groups in completely different ways. You can really think of domestic tourism as the reliable economic backbone, while international tourism acts as this powerful, sudden injection of foreign currency.
Third, we have the destination. This is the magnetic north of the whole trip. Whether we're talking about the bright neon lights of a sprawling city or the absolute quiet isolation of a national park, a destination must have an inherent pull. Because without that compelling draw, the entire tourism machine simply doesn't start. It is literally the catalyst for every flight booked and hotel built. All of this culminates in number 4, the tourism experience. Now, this isn't just the physical hotel bed you sleep in. It's the absolute totality of the trip. The delayed flights, that incredible local street food, the emotional connections, the sense of adventure, the whole shebang. It is the true end-to-end product that you're actually buying.
And our final core term is sustainable tourism. This is a massive concept we're going to weave throughout this entire explainer. Basically, sustainable tourism takes full account of its current and future impacts, economic, social, and environmental. The ultimate goal here is to protect destinations for future generations. It's this incredibly delicate balancing act of enjoying a place today without ruining it for tomorrow. Moving right along to Section 2, Types of Tourism. Here we'll look at 5 distinct flavors of travel. So how do all these components blend together? Well, they create 5 main types of travel. First, cultural tourism. Think seeking out heritage, like wandering the ancient ruins in Rome. Then there's ecotourism, which is all about immersing yourself in nature with a strict focus on conservation, like exploring the Amazon. Adventure tourism pushes physical limits in remote areas. Trekking to Everest Base Camp, for example. Then we've got medical tourism, which is driven by healthcare economics, like traveling to Thailand for specialized surgery. And finally, business tourism. This brings professionals to places like Singapore for huge conventions, though, let's be real, they almost always sneak in a little leisure on the side. All right, Section 3, key stakeholders. These are the fit-in players behind the scenes. We know the what, but what about the who? Imagine a cast of 6 characters driving this global play. Dead center, you have the tourists. Their wallets fund the entire operation, but they have to interact with local communities. Now, these residents often crave the economic boost, but they definitely fear cultural disruption. Supporting this dynamic are service providers, like your hotels and airlines, who rely heavily on the government to build airports and keep things safe. Meanwhile, agencies and operators work behind the scenes to actually orchestrate all those logistics. And finally, acting as the industry's conscience, we have NGOs. They're constantly advocating to protect local wildlife and ensure that travel stays responsible. Now, zooming in on those planners for a second, there is a totally crucial distinction you need to understand: the difference between a travel agency and a tour operator. Think of a travel agency like a retail storefront. They are selling pre-packaged trips straight to you, the consumer. Tour operators, on the other hand, they are the architects. They are the ones in the trenches negotiating with hotels, designing the routes, and building those itineraries from absolute scratch.
Bringing us to Section 4, the digital nervous system. This is all about information and communication technology, or ICT. We've looked at the what and the who. Now, how does this all actually work? Well, this digital nervous system completely transforms the traveler's journey across a three-part loop. It kicks off pre-trip, where every single flight and hotel is vetted and booked online. Then it moves on-site, where digital tools help you navigate the physical destination. And it wraps up post-trip. This is where sharing photos and writing reviews directly influences the next person's pre-trip planning. It's a cycle that just constantly feeds itself. Just think about your last trip for a second. You almost certainly used booking platforms like Expedia or Airbnb just to check availability. You probably relied heavily on navigation tools, hello Google Maps, maybe even downloading them offline for when your self-service suddenly vanished. You likely let TripAdvisor reviews dictate where you grab dinner, right? Or maybe you scanned QR codes at a museum to get a self-guided tour in your native language, or used mobile apps for instant recommendations. Technology has literally turned the modern tourist into a fully independent explorer. But hey, this digital web definitely goes both ways. For the industry players, digital customer service, especially managing reviews, is absolute survival. Acknowledging positive reviews? That's great for building a welcoming, friendly image. But repairing trust by responding professionally to negative reviews? That is where the real work happens. In today's hyper-connected ecosystem, ignoring a bad review is hands down the fastest way for a destination to lose its credibility.
And beyond just managing reputations, these digital channels provide massive operational utility. Through social media or chat support, providers can instantly push real-time updates. We're talking sudden weather warnings, unexpected event closures, and, most crucially, dispatching emergency assistance to tourists exactly when they are most vulnerable in an unfamiliar place.
Finally, let's look ahead to the future of travel, AI, VR, and evolution. Having mapped out the current anatomy of tourism, how is this multifaceted machine going to evolve? Well, innovations are going to make travel incredibly personalized. We are rapidly moving toward a reality where AI-driven chatbots seamlessly handle super complex service requests in any language right on the fly. Meanwhile, immersive virtual reality is going to allow anyone, regardless of physical mobility, to virtually walk through a destination before they ever even book a ticket. It is completely rewriting how we plan and experience the world. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question that ties all of this back to sustainability. How will these rapidly advancing technologies like AI and immersive VR ultimately reshape our ability to protect the globe? Like, will virtual exploration relieve the pressure on incredibly overcrowded physical sites, or will it actually just drive up more demand? Definitely some food for thought. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the tourism ecosystem, and I'll catch you next time.